Hey, sixth graders, we are finally on lesson 2 here. So in lesson 2, we are going to start to talk about how the mantle is made up of a soft solid rock. So you are going to do some simulation, some exploration, some investigation to figure out why and how and what it means for Earth's plates that the mantle is made of a soft solid rock. So we know that Earth's plates move. We learned this in our last lesson, and we know that the mantle is the layer that is just below the plates on the crust. And depending on the thickness of the plate that make up that outer layer, the crust, the mantle can be anywhere from 65 kilometers to 100 kilometers below the surface of Earth. So the mantle is made up of solid rock, and we are going to investigate that here in just a moment. So just for a little bit of reference, the mantle is right here. So we have been talking about this is our atmosphere. This might be some water, a lake, an ocean, some land, a mountain, or a volcano. Here's the crust, this thin layer here that could be anywhere from 65 to 100 kilometers. And then here is our mantle. For reference, if we were to drive or walk on the highway from St. Cloud to the capital of Minnesota in St. Paul, that'd be about 77 miles, which is between that 65 and 100 kilometers. So that would be about how deep the crust is. It would also be the same as 810 football fields. So 810 of these football fields. And so it's pretty deep, but so we have to do some different types of investigation to learn about it because we can't directly observe it. We cannot dig that deep into the crust. So the simulation is going to allow us to better understand that by looking at how hard or how soft the mantle is in order to learn more. So in the simulation, you will see something that looks like this, and you will be able to set how hard or how soft the rock is in the mantle, and you're going to slide this back and forth to do some investigations. Just for reference here, a hard solid is like a hard surface. So for example, your desk. And a soft solid is something like chewing gum or modeling clay. So it's something that's solid, but I can still move it around. It's still malleable. So in the natural world, we have to be able to look at some of these things in simulations and in our cross sections in order to better understand. And we learned in chapter 1 that the plates move. So now we're trying to figure out how they move or why they move. So we're going to look at which setting for hardness. So the setting here, the hard solid or the soft solid, is going to give us the best representation of how plate motion works in the natural world. So a hard solid rock or a soft solid rock. Earth plates move on top of soft solid layer of rock called the mantle. So that's our key concept. So we're trying to kind of explore and investigate this. In the practice today, we are going to be using that simulator again, and we're going to go to a different zone on the simulator to better understand, and I'm going to help you kind of guide through that. So it says below the outer layer is the mantle, and in the practice we are going to use the simulation to investigate how the composition, so what the mantle is made of, allows the plates to move. You are going to record your observations here in this chart in your assignment, your practice assignment, and then I would also like you to take a screenshot and upload your screenshots into your assignments. So it says to click here to open the simulation, and then we're going to select region number 1. And when we get into region number 1, it says adjust the mantle setting to hard solid. So we're going to come down here and we're going to slide this over to a hard solid, and then we are going to click run. And while it's running, we're going to observe the motion of the plates, and then we are going to write what we find out in this observation below. So let's go back and take a look. So I can see that my time is still passing. We are at 4750, right? Millions of years. It's going by very fast. And I'm observing right now that there's not much happening, but I will go back and see if I can make anything happen here soon. So I'm going to click back in build, and then I'm going to adjust the mantle to a soft solid. So when I adjust it to soft solid, I can click run again and watch what happens over time. Very quickly, we see that there is some motion and movement, and so we could put those observations right here in this data table and then include a screenshot for whenever we decide to pause and take a screenshot here and upload it. We should have taken a screenshot of the first one too. All right, so that is all that you were working on for this lesson here. You're going to answer some questions, make some observations, and use this here. Remember that the last thing I want to just talk about quickly is when we're in this build, if we, let's see, we're in region 1, we want to be in region 2. In our last lesson, we used region 2, and I just want to share with you this information about what happens when we build. So you can see here as I add this continent on top from the top view, on the bottom, I can see this continent going on top of the water. So it's connecting to that layer of rock that's underneath the water. I'm going to do it again on the right side. So every time I click something, it's going to add to it. I can move my slider, and as I move it up and down, you can see that the rock is changing because the size of my rocks or my islands in front of us are changing size. So if I want, I could make this island bigger by adding more rock down here, and now I can move it up and down. If you did not do this in the first lesson, you should go ahead and work on, go back and try that because it's going to help you as we go forward. So if I click run, after I have set it as a convergent boundary, you're going to see that as these interact with one another, as this plate on the right interacts with this plate on the left, that my rock is starting to overlap the other one. And that's the end of my simulation. So if you didn't do that in the last lesson, you should explore that and check it out. And I hope that you enjoy learning more about the mantle. Remember, today is a great day to learn. I hope you have a great day learning. Happy learning!